when you get the P1416 code causing your check engine light to go on, that tells you that you have to change the passenger side check valve. You have two check valves in the Corvette. This is a 2003. You have one on the driver's side and one on the passenger side. The passenger side is indicated by P1416 code, and unfortunately this check valve is bolted behind the intake manifold, underneath or in between the firewall and the intake manifold, which is nearly impossible to get to without taking off the intake manifold and all the fuel rail system. So this is going to be an alternative fix for this check valve, and I'll explain it. Basically, I'm going to run a new line to a new check valve to the passenger side exhaust manifold. This way, in the future, if you ever have a check valve problem and it's the same one, you can easily access it and change it. Now for this fix, I'm going to move the check valve from behind the engine, behind the intake manifold, and I'm going to reroute it so it's right accessible here by the exhaust manifold. See this tube right here? I'm going to replace this tube with a different one, basically the same one that's used on the other exhaust manifold, and I'm going to route the airline to the front of the engine, which is going to run here, and then I'm just going to route it underneath here and tee it in. So I bought one of these used tubes, stainless steel tubes, that is meant for the driver's side exhaust manifold. I bought one of these used off of eBay, and it's for like a 2000 to 2001 Corvette. Now this tube is slightly smaller than my 2003, but I'm going to take this one and I'm going to install it on the passenger side of my 2003. So here's the used stainless steel tube, and it has the old check valve on it. But basically I'm going to take this, and it's meant for the driver's side, but I'm going to mount it on the passenger side, and I'm going to mount it in place of the original tube. This might not be visible on this video, but basically I'm going to install it like this, and then I'm going to route the line towards the front of the engine, because this one actually faces, when you use it like this without bending the tube or rebending it and changing the direction, it faces the front of the engine instead of the rear. But that doesn't matter to me. I'm just going to run the line, and I think it'll look fine. So basically I'm going to replace this stainless steel tube in the right side, in the right passenger exhaust manifold, because I'm not going to use it. Because if I ever have to replace that check valve again, I'm not going to have to take the intake manifold and all the fuel rails and all that stuff off. That's too much of a pain just to do a check valve. So basically I'm just replacing this, and I'm going to run a new line probably around the front of the engine and just tee it in. I could probably run it behind the engine, but basically I won't make the same mistake Chevrolet did and bolt the check valve behind the engine. I mean, that's just silly. Alright, so we disconnected the pipe here, and we're going to pull this back as far as you can. Here's the smog air, and then we're going to clean the surfaces, take off the old gasket material, scrape it. Alright, so we're going to now cut the this heat protection around the stainless steel tube. Cut it back as far as you can. Okay, next we're going to pull back that insulation, and we're going to put a tubing cutter on it, and then we're going to turn this tubing cutter and cut the pipe. Okay, once you cut the tubing, you take the tubing off. And you have your piece there. That's pretty thick stainless steel tubing. It was not easy to cut, but the tubing cutter, just a regular tubing cutter, worked. One of these regular tubing cutters worked fine. Just takes a little time. And as you'll see, I tried to cut the hose off as far back as possible. So, because I'm going to just leave it here, I'm going to tuck it in. So, if I want, I might even try to cut it back even further. So this pipe is off a 2000 or 2001 Corvette, and it's for the driver's side. Now I'm using it on the passenger side, but although it looked the same as my 2003 when I looked at it online, it's actually too close to the exhaust manifold right here, because it's rubbing here, and it interferes with this plug wire. I had to disconnect this plug wire, because right here. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to bend this by hand after I bolted it in. I bolted it into the exhaust manifold, and I'm going to try to pull this away without destroying it. Okay, I was able to bend the pipe by putting this screwdriver in the tube and putting some pressure on it. So I bent it so it's facing the front of the engine, and although it is touching right down in here, it's touching this heat shield plate, I can't really bend it good just by myself in this, without like a vise or tools, but I don't think that'll be a big problem. Hopefully it won't make a noise. If not, I'll have to take it off and try to bend it again somehow. But right now I like it because it's facing the front of the engine, which is fine. And I'm going to just reroute put the check valve on, and then run the hose right around the front, and I'll tee it into the rest of the system. Okay, now I'm going to put on the new check valve. And I'm going to tighten this up with a wrench. Then here's the fitting. Just going to run a hose from this and run it towards the front of the engine. Okay, so I just tightened up the check valve. Just put a wrench on it right there, tightened it up. And right now I'm just going to run some heater hose off the front, and I'm going to route it around the front of the engine. Try to make it look neat, but it'll be fine. I'm going to tee it in somewhere over there. Okay, so I connected the hose right here, and got a hose clamp, and then I'm going to run the hose here. Here's the hose, and I'm just going to run it right probably under here, just neaten it up and tee it in over there. So I got about some hose here, just going to run it in, tee it in. Okay, so I routed the hose and ran it along here by the radiator, by the air box, and I'm going to run it and remove some of this other hose, and then somehow I have to tee it in to go right here. There's also a metal pipe buried down here that I'm going to remove, and a pipe back here that goes to the old check valve that I got to remove. Okay, with a lot of pulling, we are able to remove this hose. This is the metal hose that was the T, and this is the one that we're going to remove, and we're not going to reuse it. Okay, so I got this T, and I'm just going to tee this new airline into the existing airline, which is right here. And if you could see it, I'm going to tee it in down here. It's hard to see, but basically just the airline coming from wherever it picks up, and
down here. This is it right here. So wherever it picks up down there, right down there, I'm going to tee it in. I just put the T in. So the bottom one here goes down to the intake. This one right here goes out to the passenger side check valve. And I run it along there over to the check valve. And then the remaining one, this one I'm going to connect to the driver's side check valve. And I may or may not use the old line, just reuse that because it's kind of pre-molded. Or I might just run a new line. So we'll see. Alright, I think I decided I'm not going to reuse the stock curved bent hose. Instead, I'm going to, because in this case I would have to have two connectors, one here and then one right here. Not that it's a big deal because they're all tight and stuff and I have clamps on them. But instead I am going to use my hose that I bought. So I have some hose right here. I'm just going to tee it in right here. And then it's going to be one continuous piece that snakes down, curves down there, and it's going to have one other connector right here. And this way, I guess there's just, you know, one long hose, and it doesn't have any sharp bends. It doesn't look like it's collapsed or anything, and so it looks like the best way to go. So I'm going to use that, and then I'm going to put this connector right here, and over here I'm going to just use that connector. That's ready to go, and I'll just cut the hose to fit. This way it'll have a nice single hose, and we'll strap it down. Alrighty, so I routed the hose in this hose clamp, and I tightened the bolt back down. This just keeps this connector on top. And then we have one more connection. I have a hose clamp, and I'm going to put it right on here on this last T. I'm just going to fit it in. It's going to go like that. I'm going to have to take two hands to do it, and then I'm going to put this last hose clamp. It's just a little crazy. Again, these T's are so tight, the hose clamps are probably not necessary. Here's the new stainless steel tube bolted in. It's got the new check valve. It's got the hose. And just to look back, there's the old stainless steel tube cut off. It's going to stay there as far as I'm concerned. It's got the old check valve behind there bolted down. Here's the new hose. Runs along the other hoses. Just curves around. I run it in back of the radiator. I ran it underneath the air intake. Just put a simple tie strap to hold it in. So here's some of the old parts that I took off the car that we're not reusing. Just some lines, stainless steel tube, the old check valve. Actually, that check valve came with the new one that new tube that I bought, but the old one's still bolted to the back of the engine. But I used pretty much all new hose. So I already cleared the check engine light, and today it's a real warm day. It's like 60 degrees, but I used to get that P1416 code on real icy cold mornings. But so far it's good. Just shows my hatch ajar. This is where I got that open. Take a look under the hood. Okay, so that's using the preformed tube with the fitting on it. That's meant for the driver's side. Now it's on the passenger side facing forward. Or we can actually use the original pipe that I cut off. And what I could do is just flare this end and just put the hose right on it, and with the hose clamp, and just use the original pipe. So if you didn't want to buy something with this fitting on it, I'll show you. You could probably just use the original pipe, maybe cut it a little shorter, and use this and save some money. Okay, so now I took the original tube, which is cut right here, and I grabbed it and I bent it. You can see right here. So basically I took this, bolted it back into the exhaust manifold, and I pulled it towards me to bend it away from the engine towards me. So here's the tube, and I gave it a yank, and this tube I'm going to probably cut it off right about here, shorten it, and you could flare it and just put a hose on it, and then just put a adapter to it and run the check valve from here, and this way it would face the rear of the engine. But trying to get a tube through the rear of the engine, this heater hose, which I'm going to use, I know there should be emission hose, but this is what I got right now. Trying to get this through the rear of the engine back here, it's pretty tight. So I think what I'm going to do is, I have a choice. I could take this, I'm still going to cut it short, flare it, and then I'm just going to turn this pipe upside down, and I'll take a picture of that, and then it'll face the front of the engine, and I'm just going to run the check valve through this heater hose and through the front of the engine. So this is the way to reuse this original tube, and I'll show you. I'm going to just take this off now that I bent it and I was able to grab it, and I'm going to just turn it upside down so it faces the front of the engine. Okay, so I just bent the original tube and I have it upside down, and you can see down here the tube now faces the front of the engine. I get a better video of it right here. And so what I could do is either cut that off short or pull it up a little bit, towards the top there, straighten it out. But this tube, I could just flare it and put the check valve on there, or from one point over here, because you could put the check valve anywhere in line. So again, it's bent, and I just take this out. Here's the original tube. If I just bend it a little more and straighten it out so it faces, level there, that little bend, then you just reuse the same tube, flare it, and run the check valve towards the front of the engine.